Hello and good evening. Um, Kind of a random live stream, but I got some time, so I figured I'd jump on here because no one else has yet. Um, as the title says, um, it is, according to many people on the interwebs, Black Wednesday. Because apparently Facebook went down, and that means that it is the end of the world. Well, for most people, it's the end of their world, if you will. Um, I guess I lost contact with a few people, but you know what? I'll live. Uh, Let me check something here real quick. Make sure that everything is going. Hello, William Armstrong. Pulling up the chat right now. Um, yeah. I am opening this up as an open chat. If anybody wants to join, they could just shoot me an email at apaperez61@gmail.com. I'll let you join. Um, and Facebook going down is just kind of the springboard that I'm using to maybe get the conversation going here. But it doesn't have to be what we talk about today. It's again, it's open chat. Um, but yeah. Um, Facebook, at least on the desktop, went down for many people. Apparently, Instagram's been having some issues as well. Um, so maybe we could talk about that, like our dependence on social media. I mean, should that really be such a big deal, right? Like people are freaking out right now, probably burning cities down because Facebook is down. I mean, yeah, I got some friends and family I need to keep in touch with on Facebook. But you know what? It's just not. It's not the end of the world. Yeah, I know I'll see them again. Eventually. I got most of their phone numbers. So if I got to get in touch with them, I'll just do it the old-fashioned way. And yeah, William. According to Facebook's Twitter page, right? Because Facebook has been tweeting about this. How ironic, huh? Um, 6 hours ago, they said that they were working on it, and they want to assure you that it's not a DDoS attack. Okay, you don't believe me? Here, I'll screen share it. And okay, I'll shoot this to. Ah, yeah, that's okay, William. Um, yeah, here, let me. Um, yeah, Here, let me check, see if I can get to Twitter anyway. Like, I heard that Instagram was having issues as well. And from what I understand, Instagram is owned by Facebook, I think. Yeah, I think it looks like Facebook acquired it, so it looks like they bought it. Yeah, right here. It was here, and I took screenshots of this and posted it to my MeWe. But take a look at it here. It says 6 hours ago, we're focused on working to resolve the issue as soon as possible, but can't confirm that the issue was not related to a DDoS attack. Yeah, okay, Facebook. If it was a DDoS attack, would you tell us? You know, but the more I think about it, the more I think it might be a DDoS attack, because it seems to not be affecting the mobile app on people's phones. And I think that the mobile app most likely accesses different servers than if you were to go to the website or use a desktop app like Caprine or something. And so if people are launching a DDoS attack, chances are they're doing it from a desktop computer or a laptop, and they're attacking the actual web servers of Facebook, not the ones that handle the mobile app. So that would explain why it's only affecting desktop users. I'm not saying it is a DDoS attack. I'm not saying it's not one either. I mean, because they just kind of jumped on that. I mean, defensive much, right? Anyway, let me get back here. Is anyone else here finding the... Yeah, let's see, what else for news? My the docking station for my ThinkPad arrived today. I bought a mini docking station for my ThinkPad. Because I wanted to expand what this thing can do. And I saw what some of these ThinkPads can really do, and I want to test out to see how far I can push it. And I got it for a bargain price on eBay for like $24 or so. And it wasn't that much when you consider that Amazon wanted $100 for the same thing with less ports on it, mind you. The thing has one USB 3, has a charger port, a VGA, has 6 USB 2s, I think, Ethernet port. It's got 2 DVIs, 2 DVI ports, and 2 display ports. Am I missing anything? I don't think so. But so far, it's working. It did a great job of cleaning up the wires that I have, because I connect a lot of peripherals to this ThinkPad, including an external monitor that I have connected to it. And before I got the docking station, there were like wires and cables like everywhere. You know, the headset, the webcam, and like they were just like scattered boom, USB ports over here. I got a little USB hub that I had connected to it, and it was just a mess. It was a mess. I'm glad I got this thing. Really helped clean up my my workstation here. I would definitely recommend that anybody that's got a ThinkPad, definitely look into the docking stations. They're not that expensive, and they will help you if you're gonna do anything um, like major with your ThinkPad. Um, Eventually, I am gonna get like another monitor, um, so that including the built-in display, I'll have three displays because I want to get the. I like having multiple monitors, but um, I want to have like that odd number. So there's one in the middle. I can center everything. Is there anybody else watching in the chat? Don't be afraid to say hello. This is an open chat. I did open a, I did open it up with Facebook being down. We could talk about that, but I'm open to talk about anything really. Um, I just check some news here, maybe. I wonder. Like, really, the only thing that I sometimes use Facebook for is to keep in touch with some family, some friends that I can't, you know, keep in touch with any other way. But, like, if Facebook were to go down, like, permanently, like, would that be such a bad thing? I mean, just kind of thinking out loud there. Hey, Ricky, how you doing there? Um, yeah, I started this open chat. Just didn't seem like anybody else was coming on, so I figured I'd, what the heck? Not stepping on anybody's toes tonight, right? I did open this up for an open chat. If you would like to join you, Ricky, just I think you have my email, right? Um, or maybe I could shoot you a link on MeWe if you want it there. You can get MeWe. Yeah, thank goodness for MeWe, right? Facebook goes down, it's the end of their world, not mine. Mm, mm, yeah. Um, yeah, I was looking on its FOSS. I might talk about some things that I saw there. Um, didn't really go into too much depth in any article that I saw. I'm just kind of skimmed through it. Here, Ricky, I'll shoot you a link. All right, link is sent. sent it to your email. And it's foss.com. Okay, a few articles here. Firefox Send. Free and encrypted file sharing service. From Mozilla. Hmm. Ooh. Calm down. Skype for web has not dropped support for Linux. Hey Tom, how you doing? Um, yeah, I guess I kind of stole your spot here tonight, huh? Yeah, yeah, I know you're working on your channel there, so figured I'd fill the slot as best I can tonight. Um, Again, if anybody would like to join, they're more than welcome to. Um, but yeah, me. Yeah, yeah, I saw your post on YouTube, Tom. Yeah. Um, yeah, sometimes. Um, yeah, I know the feeling. I mean, sometimes life just gets in the way and whatnot. Um, yeah. So, hmm. So here's an article here on It's Foss says, calm down. Skype for Web has not dropped support for Linux. Says this week rumors are rife that the newly released Skype for Web has dropped the support for Chromebooks and Linux. While I cannot vouch for Chromebooks, I can certainly confirm. This is by Abhishek Prakash. I probably butchered that name. But that's all right. I work in the meat department. But um, says, well, I cannot vouch for Chromebooks. I could certainly confirm that Skype for Web is working fine on Linux. The first stable release of Skype for Web is a big news in the tech world. When I read the news, I was surprised. I read the news. I was surprised on learning that Linux was not supported. Why would Microsoft drop support for certain operating systems when Skype for Web is dependent on the web browser? Oh, okay. So he's not talking about the Skype application itself. It's talking about, like, if you were to go to skype.com here. Hmm. Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I like how everything is moving to like web-based applications and whatnot. Um, Sometimes I just like to have. Hey, Ricky.
Hey, how you doing?
Ricky's in the house. Yeah. I don't know if you saw the beginning of my stream, but I started by talking about how I guess Facebook's been down for the day.
This is the first time I've ever heard that.
I haven't been able to load it at all or it's been having issues
Hmm.
since this Instagram too, and they're calling it Black Wednesday because I guess it's the end of their world.
Black Wednesday, eh?
Yeah, and I mean, I'm thinking like, should it really be that big of a deal? Like, are we too dependent on things like this? That like it goes down for a day and it's like the world's coming to an end. And of all things, Facebook actually tweeted about it 6 hours ago that they're working on it, and they want you to know that they can confirm that it's not a DDoS attack. They specifically said it's not a DDoS attack. I was like, you know what? If it was a DDoS attack, would you be telling us that it was a DDoS attack?
If it was a DDoS attack, I mean, we would have heard about it from The Verge and everybody by now.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
I mean, any type of security vulnerability, Facebook will tell us.
I would hope so. Yeah, I mean, they probably would. I mean,
But I got MeWe, so I'm not complaining.
yeah, I mean, Facebook. I mean, there's only a few contacts that I kind of need to stay in contact with them. But you know what? I'm at the point now where it's like if Facebook were to go down like this for permanently, I wouldn't miss it. Would you miss it?
Not really.
I mean, I got most of their phone numbers. I mean, I'll stay in touch somehow. You know,
Is it still down?
it's still having issues. Like if you try to go to it, like it just loads up really slow. Like if I didn't know any better, I would think it was a DDoS attack. Or like if they didn't specifically come out and say that, I would assume that it was one because it's behaving like it's taking on too much traffic, right? Like it's loading up slow. It's not loading certain things. Like it's being blocked. It only affects the desktop, right? The mobile app is just fine. And so like to me, it has all the symptoms of a DDoS attack. But
so let me get this straight. The mobile version's fine, but the desktop version is acting up.
Right. So like Caprine, I can't get on Caprine right now. If you try to get on the Facebook website, it won't. It might load for you, but it'll be really, really slow. It won't load certain things. It'll be looking complete. The mobile app is just fine. And so to me, it seems like, correct me if I'm wrong, but like when I access Facebook.com from like a web browser, it accesses a different server than if I use the mobile app, right? And so, like if I were to launch a DDoS attack, I would most likely do it from a desktop or a laptop. Like you can do it from certain phones, but like it's very rare. It's very difficult to do. And I can't see a phone generating that many packets.
And here's the thing: we both know that for a DDoS attack to happen, somebody must have gotten into either one of the Facebook servers or basically an online portion. Which, if I'm correct, Facebook servers and areas, aren't they mostly Linux based? I believe.
I would assume so. Most web servers are. Matter of fact, one time I did for Haha's, I ran an Nmap scan on Microsoft.com.
Yeah.
Came back as Debian.
Came back as Debian. That's funny.
Yeah. I was like, you don't even trust your own server operating system to run your own web servers? I mean, why should I run it on mine?
It's either A, they do use the Linux architecture to run their business, or B, they're still using Windows 10. Because, Lord help me, if they're using Windows 10, no wonder it's a DDoS attack.
I mean, it's not impossible to DDoS attack a Linux machine either.
No, but I mean, but here's the thing. Isn't it much easier to DDoS attack Windows than it is Linux?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I suppose so, yeah, because Windows is more resource heavy.
Yeah.
And basically what a DDoS attack is you're trying to flood the server with packets. From how I understand it, a server can only handle so many open connections. And so what you're trying to do is open as many connections as you can on that server so it can't handle any more. That might work on a local level. Like if I were to DDoS attack another computer on my network, I might flood it and make it so that no one else can access it. But if I were to do, let's say, to Facebook that has thousands of servers, I would be like squirting a squirt in an ocean. Like, so you would need to have millions of people doing this to affect it on this level.
And here's the thing: Facebook has been they've been in such hot water as of late. I mean, the lawsuits, everything is just pinning them to the ground. I mean, it's only a matter of time before Mark Zuckerberg says, okay, I'm done. I'm throwing in the white flag. You guys win. You guys win. I'm done. I'm done.
I think that Facebook has run its course. Like everybody who's gonna join Facebook has already joined. Like,
yeah. I mean, they've already beaten MySpace. They've beaten Twitter. They've beaten Bebo.
And it's like the original excitement is gone, right? Like the like, oh, I can get in touch with all my old high school classmates or whatever. Like like no one cares anymore. It's just that initial, like the sense of like, oh, look how cool this is. That's gone. No one's impressed by it anymore.
It's gone. Done. I mean, here's the thing. Open source social networking is the wave of the future. Mastodon and MeWe, Diaspora, Minds, all of them are taking over.
Yeah, I see that. I mean, like I'm actually enjoying MeWe, and I even threw them a few bucks the other day. I bought their dark theme for their like it changed like at least on the desktop, right? Like it gave me a nice little dark theme, easier on the eyes, and I tossed them $2 for it. Right, like it helps them out, helps me out.
I mean, I really like that they're making most of the core services payable. I like that approach. That really guarantees right there that besides reading the privacy policy and the terms and conditions, I would say now Tom,
Windows 10 be gone.
Not only that, if you need, here's the thing, Tom. Get your Bible out, open the New Testament, and just pray over that for a few minutes before you even turn Windows 10 on.
Yeah, you gotta exercise the demons. Get it?
Throw the Bible at the screen. I don't know if that will help.
Well, that's what it'll help him relieve stress.
Yes, that's true.
Oh man, I tell you
Um,
what, I find Windows 10 difficult to operate, difficult to navigate.
um, I, I haven't really found it that much difficult. I mean, I've used it. I mean, I've used Windows 10 from 2017 to around 2019, because around June is when I started trying Linux more and more. Then I think maybe 1 or 2 months later I switched full time.
Hmm.
I still have Windows 10 on 2 hard drives here, because every once in a while I will return to Windows 10 because there's certain things I have to do in Windows 10.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's just me because I've been like Windows free for like 5 years now. I haven't really touched Windows 10, other than a few times when I bought a new machine, I booted it into Windows 10 to make sure it was working fine.
Yeah.
And there was one time when I actually gave it like a fair go. I said, let me boot it into Windows 10. Let me see what this is about.
Yep.
And I did.
And the minute you load it in there, you see Cortana and all its glory. You see that EULA.
Hmm.
I would have to say one thing. The thing that I think prevented Windows 10 from succeeding where Windows 7 left off is the direction that the company went as a whole, where their business practices were basically going towards advertising and cloud and going for the cloud. And I think really what really threw a wrench into Microsoft is when Bill Gates left.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that kind of screwed over Apple too when Tim Cook left. Or I mean, sorry,
When
Steve Jobs.
Yeah, when Steve Jobs died, that really hurt the company,
Yeah.
because Steve Jobs left, kept the company in check since he could he kept the company in check since he returned to Apple in 1997.
Yeah, because I mean, the company suffered when they
I mean,
kicked him out too.
yeah, I mean Steve Jobs. I mean, he was around in the 80s. He's the one that produced the very first Macintosh.
Yeah.
When he returned to Apple in 1997, he elected at that time he was the CEO of the company Pixar, the company that makes the Toy Story series and Monsters Inc. and all those famous Disney movies. He assembled a group, a special type of board of directors. He included several people.
Hmm.
Um, and over the last few over those few years, those core people allowed Apple to get healthy again. I mean, Apple became a really good company, and once again, Apple did the one thing they're good at. They were good in the education systems again.
Yeah.
I mean, back in the day, Macs is what most schools used, but now in this new generation, you're seeing Chromebooks in schools.
Yeah. Look at that. Great. The task manager is not responding. Uh,
What I would do, Tom, is Control Alt Delete, and it should disappear.
well, I tell you this: when it comes to Apple and Mac OS 10, their best move was making Mac OS Unix based.
Me, which, if I'm correct, it never used to be Unix based, didn't it?
No, not until OS 10. OS X began the Unix base. Um, I think it's based on um, either FreeBSD or NetBSD. One of the various BSDs
Mm,
is
So essentially, technically, the new versions of macOS is technically a BSD
or I think based on one. Like I don't know
based on
if
one.
it will be considered one because they do put a lot of like stuff on top of it. But that's
Hello,
why.
hello, Paul.
Hey, Paul, how you doing? Would you like to join, Paul?
But yeah, Apple, I hate to say it, since Tim Cook came into play here, I mean, Apple's really gone downhill. I think in order to save the company once again,
Ah,
they need to clean up the board of directors just like they did in 1997. I think Tim Cook needs to be ousted and somebody else needs to take over.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
there. I mean, here's the thing: there are a lot of good people that Steve Jobs knew that he trusted that could run Apple efficiently.
yeah. It has to be someone that shared Steve Jobs' view, his
Yeah,
because like Steve, he knew how to spot talent. He knew how to innovate. Like that's what really killed Microsoft was when Windows XP came out. That I know a lot of people loved Windows 7, but honestly, I think Windows XP was their last hurrah.
it, well, the thing is, I mean, that's true. I mean, Windows XP. I mean, Windows XP. I still consider was the lead for Microsoft's computing platform because XP had everything. You had 32-bit, and later on, it did get 64-bit support.
Yeah, but
And over those few years, a lot of good graphics cards supported Windows XP. I mean, a lot of good ones from Nvidia and AMD. I mean, AMD Athlon was a huge hit with XP.
yeah, and my reason for saying that was because like Windows XP took over the business scene. It was like the biggest system in usage, and for 14 years they had to support it because no one wanted Vista was you know
Vista was a train wreck. Nobody wanted it. And around that time, Microsoft didn't know it, but Linux was starting to take off. Ubuntu
yeah,
was born in 2004, and Ubuntu's popularity was increasing year after year after year after year. It just kept. It went right past XP, and for the last couple years until 16.04, the original old style of Ubuntu was pretty much the one that was dominating Windows 7.
yeah. And the thing about Windows 7 is that yeah, Windows 7 was great. It
It,
was very stable.
I mean, it was very stable, but however, the biggest thing that hurt Windows 7 is when they forced people to jump to 10.
Yeah, because Windows 7 didn't last as long as Windows XP did.
No,
And the reason I was saying Windows XP was their last hurrah is because that was the last time they really innovated anything. That was the last time they brought something to the table that wasn't already there.
no, exactly. Because the thing about XP is they wanted to do better than they did with Windows 98. I still say, in my opinion, out of all of Microsoft's operating systems, XP was good for its time, Windows 7 was good for its time, but the one operating system that people remember Microsoft being famous for was Windows 95 and Windows 98. That was, in my opinion, the true era of Windows.
Well, unfortunately, I'm kind of young. I don't really remember. Well, I remember 95, 98, but I never really used them that closely. My first experience with like a family computer where I was
Mm-hmm.
able to actually use it was Windows. Wait for it, 2000.
Yeah. Well, from what 2000, I don't think was that bad. I mean, to be honest, it was better than Windows Millennium Edition.
Yeah, yeah. I heard that Windows 2000 was supposed to be like a replacement for ME because
Yeah,
ME was such a train wreck that 2000 was meant to like kind of.
and around the time that Windows 2000 was going on, they were starting to build XP around that time.
Yeah, and
They released several betas for XP, and eventually in 2001, XP was released.
I think that Microsoft squandered Windows 7's potential.
I mean, Windows 7 had so much potential. They could do better with the interface. They could do better with everything. I mean, instead of making 10 and 8, they should have just stuck to Windows 7 and just made 7 better.
Yeah, yeah, because like Windows 8, like I beta tested Windows 8 when it came out. This was back when I was going to school, and I have a Microsoft certification in Windows XP. Um, but I remember getting the beta of Windows 8, and I saw the development of it, And like I'm not a developer, like I don't know any code at all, but like that was like it was a free beta Windows. I was like, I'll use this. I partitioned my Mac hard drive and used the free Windows 8 to play
Hmm.
my Windows games. Right? Why not? Right? And I
Now,
started.
I will say one thing. The one thing that made XP great is when Valve invented that magical program known as Steam. XP was the first operating system to take advantage of Steam.
No, I didn't know that, but that is pretty incredible.
Yeah, around that time, Steam was coming around. I think around that time, the very first few versions of Steam, I believe, were compatible with XP, but then compatibility moved towards Vista and Windows 7 because that's where they were going for. Now, the thing about Vista was released, I think, too soon. If they
Yes,
waited,
I agree with that.
if they waited till the RAM gigabyte jumped up to 2 gigabytes, Vista would have been amazing. It would have
Yeah,
been awesome.
yeah. That's the thing is, I think Vista came out before its time.
It did.
Is that?
The one. I mean, I love the interface. I mean, the little
Yeah.
sidebar, the widget system. It was awesome.
And something I love the little black sleek start menu. I thought that looked
Uh huh.
fabulous,
And
and I love the arrow, like the see through. Like
and the thing is, if you went to the Vista Ultimate Edition, it made Arrow so much better because it included the legendary Dreamscape capabilities, to where you could have video
yeah,
motioned wallpapers.
yeah, Paul, it's true. Windows 8 came out when tablets were. They thought the tablets were the future. Yeah,
Yeah.
but here's my thing. A lot of people when they were beta testing Windows 8, um, I saw a lot of their reviews on it, and like we saw it go from like this like very primitive like tile kind of start menu, like it was very like in its
Mm,
infancy,
yeah, yeah, but the thing is, I mean,
and we
Windows 8 was basically tablet based, and it threw a lot of people off.
yeah. All right, sorry, Paul. I'll see you soon then.
Say simple.
Yeah,
But when 8.1 came out, they made a lot of corrections. They
yeah,
sort of brought the start screen back, sort of. But
yeah.
it wasn't until Windows 10 when we got the start screen back.
And a lot of people told them like, why not just make one version of Windows 8 for tablets and then another version for desktops?
Yeah. I will say, in terms of stability, I would say Windows 10 is a very is a more, I would say, other than the telemetry, other than the data collection, the way it's polished, the way it looks, it's like a much more upgraded version of 7.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't used 10 as
Mm-hmm.
much as I probably like I won't sign the EULA. Like I won't use
No.
it because of I won't sign that. So I probably the only times I ever use Windows 10 is if I happen to be working on someone else's machine that has Windows 10
Yeah.
installed.
And the thing is, even though you can't turn the data collection off, I've done a bit of research on the data collection itself. You can disable some things to make your Windows experience a little bit more bearable, but other than that, the data collection is still going to be there. The only thing
Yeah.
you could do is turn some settings off, use some command prompt commands to disable or remove some things in the background. Go into the registry and disable some things. But after you've done all that, the data collection is going to still be there. It's going to be a bit more bearable for you to get at least a bit of work done.
Yeah. And I mean, my whole thing is like the last time that I used Windows 10, um, I actually had to ask the owner of the computer to pull up a command line for me. I couldn't find the command prompt. And I was like, all I need because like the issue was with the router, and like it was like this guy lives in New Jersey, I'm in Massachusetts, so like it's not like I could just I had to remote into it using TeamViewer,
Yeah.
and so I says to him, bring up the terminal. I need to find out your IP address. I proceeded to type in IP space A. Command not found, of course, because I'm dealing with Windows and it's IP config in Windows.
Yeah, ipconfig, I believe, in on some Linux distros, it uses ipconfig as well.
Well, it uses a command. The older command was ifconfig. Yeah.
Okay.
The newer net tools, I guess, is I think they called IP development tools, but like the last time I knew, like the ifconfig was part of a depreciated set of net tools. Like you know how they say this is being depreciated. So like I guess they're moving on to like IP. I don't know what they're called, IP development tools or whatever.
hmm
And like I got used to it. I mean, it's no big deal. I think they could make the output a little cleaner, but I mean, it works.
But I will say, though, when it comes to Windows, I mean, Linux has improved in the gaming scene a little bit, but Windows has still got a huge hand in the gaming development.
Yeah, that's the thing is that when
And I think even after Windows 10 has gone, I think this is what I think is going to happen. I think for the consumer user, I really do think that even if Microsoft doesn't grab a hold of Canonical, I have a feeling that they will make another operating system eventually that'll succeed where Windows 10 left off. It may not be Windows itself, but it will be another operating system in general.
yeah
We just don't know what it's going to be yet. I know I've heard some news here that Microsoft is going to develop their own competitor to compete against the Chromebooks. I know that for sure.
yeah I heard it's called like Windows Lite or something.
Windows Lite.
Yeah,
And
I
I
heard,
don't, and if I was to guess, it's most likely going to have a version of Windows 10s on it. The one that Windows 10s to where you got to buy this thing in order to access everything.
yeah, I think that's what came with um these two machines I got here.
Yeah.
My
Well,
ThinkPad, my ThinkPad.
the two hard drives that I have over here, they both have Windows 10 Pro on them.
Yeah, because the ThinkPad I got is a little bit older. It was built in 2012, I think. So it came with Windows 7, but like, it's way more powerful than these two. That's why I bought it. But like,
Yeah.
these two both came with Windows 10. I think it was.
Yeah. But I did find something interesting about Windows 7 in general. I mean, even though updates for it are set to expire, I did find one thing about that. Even if Microsoft is going to stop pushing updates, the original updates that Windows Update has already archived should still be there.
Hmm.
So you should be able to get at least an update or two still, even after the Windows 7 has fully expired.
Well, but at that point, people.
But I do think at that point, even if people try to stay in 7, Linux is still going to be flying really fast by them. I do know one thing besides Linux dominating very well, even though at the 2% market stuff that it has, Linux is still doing very well. But I also know for a fact that Unix itself is still doing pretty well in the server area.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I know Unix hasn't done any operating systems for many, many years, but I know that their biggest popularity was in the server market.
Well, I don't think that Unix exists as like the original like AT&T Unix came
Mm-hmm.
out, but there are a lot of Unix clones out there like Linux,
Mm-hmm.
BSD, GNU, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
They're not Unix, but they're Unix clones, and they operate almost identical
Mm-hmm.
to Unix,
Yeah.
and those are dominating in the
Yeah.
server market.
Now I know one other platform that is still around, but it goes by a different name. I think this will take you back down memory lane. Remember Solaris?
Yes, Solaris. Is that what?
Solaris was Unix based. It was around for so many years. It's an operating system. I did a little research on it. Basically, Oracle bought the rights to Solaris and they re-engineered it to an operating system called Open Solaris.
Hmm. I
Um,
might, I
so
might take a look at that. Yeah.
yeah, I don't know what desktop environments it runs, but from what I know, by doing research on Unix itself, most of the desktop environments we know, like XFCE, OpenBox, all of them, all the desktop environments can trace their origins back to Unix.
Yes. Yes, and and you got to look at it too. A Mac OS adopted a Unix platform too.
Yeah, they did. I mean, they have an authentic, genuine Unix core inside of it.
And I'm not saying go out and purchase a Mac. I mean, there are easier ways to get a Unix-based system without paying $2,000. But
Exactly. I mean, like Total West today always says, go get a ThinkPad. They're under $200.
yeah, yeah, they are. I mean,
I
like
mean, IBM, when they invented the ThinkPad, they invented a masterpiece. They invented one of the best, if not the best, laptop that has a good budget and it's built really well. And the best part is you can find all the batteries, components, and everything on eBay or Amazon. I mean, a lot of IBM parts are still being sold.
oh yeah. I mean, look at this one. I got Spatry actually recommended the one I have now, the ThinkPad W530. Right, I guess it's a little pricier than $200. I paid $365 for it on eBay. But this thing came with out of the box. It came with 8 gigs of RAM, an i7. Came with a 240 gig SSD,
Uh huh.
and you got to look at the potential that these things have because you can upgrade them through the roof. Like this one, it came with an NVIDIA Quadro that's got 2 gigs of dedicated RAM on the graphics card. Um, I upgraded it to 32 gigs of RAM, DDR3, but still 32 gigs of it, mind you. I was able to remove the DVD drive, insert the drive caddy, so I have a terabyte regular HHD, whatever you want to call it, that my home folder is mounted to. And now I got the docking station with like all these things attached to it, and it's like this thing has a ton of potential. I didn't even pay that much for it.
Hmm. So basically, if used correctly, you can upgrade a ThinkPad so much to where it operates just as powerful as some of the most powerfulest desktops that are available.
Oh yeah, and
I
like
mean, I mean, not exactly to those specs, but at least half or almost.
oh, it's comparable.
Hmm.
And like I don't have the money to be spending like $1,000 on a tower and this that. So like this was perfect for me. Like
Hmm. Now, back around 1996, I mean, I don't know if you heard that. Well, you might have been too young to hear this news, but back around 1996, the computer company Amiga pretty much went decided to close its doors. Amiga has not made any more computers since they closed.
I think I played with the Amiga operating system once in a virtual machine.
Uh-huh. I mean, computing back then, without those old computers like the Sinclair Spectrum, the some of the Atari ST computers, without those old computers, we would not have Windows, Linux, or nothing. Most of those computing roots can be traced back to those old computers.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I think computing was a lot different back then too. Like
We are the free Amiga.
there you go.
There you go, Tom. There you go. That's what that. Yes, sir. But we are approaching a major Linux milestone.
Yeah.
we are approaching the 10th release of Debian. I mean, Debian is one of is like the second oldest Linux distribution that we've ever had. It was developed in 1993. And it's been going strong ever since. Slackware recently had a new release, I think about a year or two ago, and it's still doing pretty good. As for other releases, I mean, Ubuntu's still doing good. I mean, recently they are still maintaining support, Benjamin, for 12.4 LTS. They are still containing the support. Yeah, in order to get that support, you have to be with the Ubuntu Advantage program. If you're in the program, if you're in the program, you could still get support for 12.04.
Well, that makes sense, because if you're running like server level stuff, like corporate level stuff, you don't want things changing that often.
Exactly. 14.04 is going to be expiring very soon. 16.04 will be expiring. It will be expiring within 2 years.
By the way, Tom, would you like to join us, or are you busy?
But I will say one thing. It's going to be really sad when Linux Mint 18.3 goes. That was one of the best operating systems I've ever used. I have a Linux Mint 18.3 drive that I can install Mint anytime I want. I'm actually thinking, since I'm not doing anything with this drive right here, this is a Seagate Barracuda 500 gigabyte. I'm planning to put Linux Mint on this.
Yeah, I mean, Linux Mint is rock solid.
It is. But I would have to say, when 16.04 goes, it's going to be very sad because I'm going to miss Unity to death.
I think Unity's been a roller coaster ride.
it has, but here's the thing. Unity gave Canonical and the identity that they needed to succeed in the Linux business. I mean, yes, they backtracked back to using GNOME. But the thing is, for a good several years, Unity was their flagship.
Yeah.
I mean, Unity was used in businesses, for servers, for education use. The thing about Linux that's surprising is the education department really likes Linux laptops, and that's why Chromebooks are succeeding, and that's why a lot of your European and South American countries use Linux laptops in their schools.
Yeah, I mean, how do I put this? Like, Unity, for me, was a bit of a roller coaster ride. When 11.04 came out, that was the first time that Ubuntu shipped with Unity. That was the first version of Unity. And it was a train wreck. I'm not going to lie, 11.04 was terrible. It kept breaking on me. But, I mean, that's the purpose. Like, 11.04 was not a long-term release. So,
but I have noticed a pattern. I took a look at the LTS chart last night. Usually an LTS releases every 3 years. So once 16.04 is completely gone, and once 18.04 has 10 years of support. So it's going to be around for a while, but once 16.04 out of the way, and once we have 19.04 in our possession, it should not be long before they release the next LTS, which I believe the next one is most likely going to 18.10.
I don't know. I think that most of the LTSs are .04s. So like I always thought that it would be like every 2 years was their release. Like what I'm thinking is that like the next LTS is gonna be 20.04.
That's what I'm thinking. That does make sense.
And like I mean like for me, like Unity gave them an identity. Like 11.04, like that was the first time I ever downgraded an operating system. It was terrible. But like, let me tell you something. 11.10, they got their act together. Unity was rock solid. It was stable. It was fast, and
And I'll say one thing: the original Ubuntu Software Center, it looks so much better than the GNOME Store. So
yeah,
much better.
yeah. I'm not a fan of the GNOME store. Matter of fact,
I'm not either. I mean, I usually, if I need to get a program, I will mostly get it through the terminal. But if I have to, I will at least use a snap if I so have to.
yeah. I mean, I try to stick to the terminal, but I know that the average user is not going to do that.
No,
So, like
I mean
for
they're going to want a software store that will cater to them, just like with Windows.
right, and like I mean, I installed Fedora on one of my other machines here because I guess it was the Biddle challenge or whatever, and I installed it on here. The GNOME Center or the GNOME Software Center has given me so many issues on that machine on Fedora, and like, well, I don't know what was up with it, but like it was telling me that there were updates, but then I would go to see the updates, and it would say, well, it timed out, and I was like, okay, fine, I give up. I ran it through the terminal. I ran the updates through the terminal, and
Yeah.
after that, the center was working again. And I'm just
Hmm.
like, it's just with Fedora. It's like, would I use it over Ubuntu? Probably. Maybe,
Hmm.
maybe not anymore because like Ubuntu's kind of gotten their act together. But like, I'm not sure I like the whole Amazon and Canonical partnership. But like, I understand they have to make their money somehow. But like, honestly, that's what kind of pushed me away from Ubuntu and that family
Hmm.
of operating systems. Was
Yeah.
I was very suspicious of Amazon's involvement.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I mean, the whatever whatever what Amazon app or whatever is in Ubuntu, I mean, you can easily remove it.
Yeah. I mean, my issue was when they started putting Amazon ads right in the like the dash there.
Hmm.
And when I would try to search for an application there, all of a sudden there'd be like these Amazon ads and like on like the lines. I'm like, I'm not dealing with this. I'm not dealing with ads in my start menu.
Now, I will say that a new era of Ubuntu is upon us. I don't know what 19.4 is going to look like, but I will be testing it.
Yeah, I'll take a quick peek at it.
I'll take a look at it. If the thing works and if it's solid, I may consider it. If it's buggy, I'm just gonna steer clear until we get an LTS.
Oh yeah, I still take a look at other distributions, like not on my main rig, because
Mm.
like I'm not
Well,
I'm not a
well,
distro hopper.
yeah, well. My main rig on the other side of my room is still Antragos Open Box. It's just not long ago I decided to get it off of 1812 and went to 1912, and it's a bit more snappier and stable.
Hmm. Wait, so Anturgos comes out in version numbers?
Yeah.
I thought it was rolling like Arch.
No.
No? Hmm.
I
I
mean,
haven't.
it's Arch based, but the thing is, they have their own. They have their own versions and version numbers. I mean, they just released 19.13 not long ago.
Hmm. I always thought that like Anturgos was more like closer to like a vanilla Arch than like.
No,
So they're
no.
they're their own thing then. Wow.
Yeah, yeah. They do their. They have the Arch architecture, but they do their own thing.
But they're like Manjaro then in that
Mhm.
respect. Yeah, cool.
I mean, I've tried a few times over the past few months to get normal Arch working. The biggest issue, and here's the thing: Arch never used to do this. This is, I don't know if it's my hardware or not, but when I go pack strap / MNT base, press enter, everything is fine until it gives me some sort of connection error. And I thought, wait a minute. I have Ethernet plugged into this thing. It should automatically detect
Hmm.
the connection. So I'm not. So I'm pretty sure that since it never did this before, I am almost certain that it has to be a bug with the ISO itself.
It could be.
It could
Um,
be.
I've never had an issue like that before. Um, like usually, if I install it on a laptop, I do know how to get the Wi-Fi working within the Arch installer. You got to use
Yeah.
there are pretty clear instructions on that using the Wi-Fi menu. And as long as you don't have a Broadcom chipset, it'll detect your wireless card automatically, and you can connect.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
um, One way would be before you get started at all, try pinging like Google or something to make sure that.
Oh, I pinged. Every time I use Arch, I at least ping it 3 times.
Hmm,
And every single time I pinged, the last time I tried to install Arch, it was successful.
there might be an issue with your mirror list too.
Now, I never thought of the mirror list. I've never thought it would ever have an issue.
Yeah, because now they changed the way they do it. Like before, there was this whole step where you had to remove like they had
Yeah.
all the servers, all the mirrors were commented out, and you would have to run this command SCDI or whatever, and like
I've never had to do that.
and like there are instructions on how to do this. Like I can't remember like the exact command, but I can look it up and find out if I need it. But like now they and like you could run something called rank mirrors, and it will automatically pick the ones that pinged the strongest and choose the top 6 or however number you choose.
Okay.
Um, but they changed the mirror list file.
Oh,
In the
in the most recent version, they've changed how the mirror list works?
Yeah, instead of commenting out all the servers, none of none of the mirrors are commented out. They're all enabled by default, and I've never had an issue with them. I just leave it like that, honestly, because
Oh, okay. So basically,
like I don't even touch the mirror list anymore.
so basically, me touching the mirrors that time may have what did it in.
Maybe. I mean, I've had mirrors go down on me before, and I've had to
Mm-hmm.
go in there and
Yeah. The only thing now I do now the one thing that didn't make sense to me with Arch is why my clock wouldn't work correctly. It wasn't until I talked to a few people and I never knew this. Arch never had hardware detection.
hmm.
From
Yeah.
what I've been told, Arch is the only Linux distro that I know of that does not hardware detect.
Well, I mean that would make sense because it is a you build it yourself kind of
Yeah.
type of deal.
So what I'm thinking is if it doesn't detect itself, I'm guessing you got to put a program in there to allow it to detect.
Either that or you have to know what's on your system to
Uh-huh. Yeah, that does make sense.
like.
Yeah.
I kind of had to wrestle with the NVIDIA Optimus to get that working on my Arch system,
Yeah.
but I mean that would be a pain in any distribution. Going,
Yeah. I mean, it's not that I hate Arch. It's the more updates they update, the more they update the version, the more frustrating it is for me to get it working.
yeah,
I mean, I think the time has come for them to think, what can we do to make it a bit easier for everybody to install our product and allow them to use it however they want? I think, to be honest, they just need to do an automatic installer.
I think they could do that, but that would violate the Arch way.
Yeah,
Like that would
and
hurt the elitists' feelings.
yeah, and then you would hear RTFM all over the place, and all I gotta say is, in response to how those people feel, and note I'm not offending or disrespecting, this is just my personal opinion. I love Arch to death, but if I can't get it to work, I'm just not gonna deal with it.
Right. And
And with me focusing more on my YouTube channel, getting that off the ground, I have to have systems that are working 24/7. So the system that works for me is Antergos
Yeah.
mainly. So I'm sticking with that for my main YouTube production machine that's over there.
For
For these two machines, the one that I'm using now and the tower that's on my chest of drawers, these two are going to be Ubuntu/Debian systems.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I started Arch as kind of a side project. You know, I wanted to learn, and matter of fact, I googled a few things when I was trying to figure things out on like Ubuntu or Opensuse or whatever distro I was hopped on at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And mainly, what I wanted to learn was how to make a bootable USB stick. And the place that it took me was archlinux.org, their forum, and where it showed how to make a bootable Arch ISO. And that's where I learned to use Disk Destroyer, DD, whatever it stands for. And
How I make a bootable USB stick is simple. I just use Etcher to do it.
I've always used the command line to do it. I ever since I found that, I knew it would be like universal across distributions.
Yeah.
Like I guess Etcher is too. Like you could install it on
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah. Yeah. Excuse me 1 minute, please.
Yeah, so let's see if there's any news out here. On Distro Watch, yeah. Oh man, Jaro's still number one. For all that's worth here on Distro Watch. See if there's any interesting distributions coming out here.
I will say one thing though. The one thing with the Arch community that I've always had trouble understanding is when somebody that's new to Linux asks them one single question. Now, I'm not saying the whole Arch community is like this. I'm not saying it all, but why are some people in the Arch community just saying, read the manual instead of giving the person the advice that they want to hear to get the job done?
I've never understood that. Like, that's the one thing that I really don't like about Arch. I mean, I chose to run Arch for other reasons. Like, the community was not one of them.
I mean,
on the same token, it was because I like how the community is like it drives the distribution, it maintains the packages, and it's on top of that.
Exactly.
And I like that because like if one person drops maintaining a package, another person's right there to pick it right back up. Like it's very well maintained, and I like this community driven as opposed to a distribution that's only maintained by one developer, right? Who can fall off the face of the earth at any time and leave your distribution completely stranded.
Solaris.
I was thinking back in the day there was this it was like a fork of Ubuntu called Ultimate Edition, and like this guy, only one developer called The Man or whatever. Like I think he's still doing it, but it's not as popular anymore. He had he packed it with like other drivers, like and packed it with software to make it easier to use. And he made it more aesthetically pleasing. Like he made it look really, 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 really slick. But then out of nowhere, he just fell off the face of the map. He had personal issues. I'm not knocking him. Like it was sad. Like
it's horrible. It's like, very horrible.
Like I think his wife had cancer, and he had to tend to his wife. And like I understand that, right? Like that's a sad thing. I pray for the guy, but at the end of the day, I need an operating system to run my computer. And it's nothing personal against him. I says I'm not going to use a distribution that's only backed by one individual.
I mean, the one thing with the Arch community is, yes, they maintain Arch Linux as a whole, but if they want to be, if they want to have happy feedback from from the users who use their distribution, I really do think that they really need to start doing a lot of support. I mean, look at Ubuntu/Debian. We got a very nice and generous, loving, wonderful community we have.
Well, the thing is, I think with Arch Linux in particular, is they need to drop the elitist attitude.
Yeah, exactly.
And
I mean, we're all computer users. I mean, we're not. I mean, the elitist attitude just needs to stop. I mean, we're. I mean, all of us came to this Linux community for one single purpose, and that is to rebel against Microsoft.
well, that and to have a stable operating system on our computers and to make them usable.
Exactly.
But I mean, on the same token, I'm like, when I first started trying to install Arch, yeah, it was a headache. I had many sleepless nights trying to figure crap out, and I learned a lot. But once I got the hang of it, like, this one took me about a week because this new hardware was unfamiliar with the NVIDIA, how that would work on Arch. But once I got the hang of that, once I get the hang of the hardware on a certain computer, forget it. I can install Arch in like an hour or two. It doesn't make you special. Like, you followed a wiki. Big whoop. You, it's like, and once you get it installed, every piece of software you could want is centralized, either in the repositories or in the AUR. It's not difficult.
No, I mean the AUR is not difficult to master. I mean all you do is you download Git, go to the AUR, get the Git URL, paste it into your terminal. Usually I switch to the downloads folder for doing so. I let the URL download the package, CD into the package, make package SI.
Well,
Boom, done.
well, that's the archway. But I would say, like, if you're feeling really lazy, if you're a new user, you want a GUI, you could. Pamac is perfect. Like, it works with the AUR. It'll download it, compile it for you. I mean, it's.
And if you don't want to mess with Pamac, there's other ways to use the AUR. I mean, you got Yay, which is really nice. You got Peak AUR, which is another good one that I've used. I know that Yowert has fallen flat on its face. I know people don't use that one anymore.
Well, because from what I understand, they stopped maintaining it.
Yeah.
It's having issues. Matter of fact, that's what Yay stands for. It stands for yet another Yowert.
Yet another, yeah, because I believe it's based on the Yowert code.
Yeah, because like, I've tried Treason, however it's pronounced.
Treason is not bad, but it has its own learning curve. You have to get used to it.
What I liked about Yay, though, was that, like, okay, Yowert, you would completely stop the process if there's like a PGP key or a GPG key that was being rejected, and they would stop, and you would have to go on GPG, receive keys, and do that, and then restart the build. Yay and Treason, I think, will ask you during the installation, do you want to accept this GPG key?
Normally, you would click yes.
Yeah. I mean, if you want,
and it'll import the key for you. It'll handle the key pretty much without you having to do it.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't. I like those ones better.
Now, when it comes to stability, that varies on the computer you have, because Arch Linux does not work for every computer.
No, it does not. Arch Linux tends, and Arch-based distros for that matter, I think they tend to favor newer hardware, newer machines.
Mm-hmm.
There is a community build called Arch 32 that you can install on a 32-bit system. But it's not officially supported by the Arch community. Matter of fact, there's a Manjaro 32 too that like before they dropped 32-bit support, the community took all the 32-bit repositories and they decided they were going to maintain them over here.
Mm-hmm.
So like, it's not impossible to get a 32-bit version of Arch or Manjaro, but like I wouldn't even recommend running a 32-bit machine in this day and age. Like unless you have a specific function in mind for this 32-bit machine. I mean,
like if you have old PC games that worked in the early Windows era, that might be a reason to use 32-bit software.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing about Wine is that Wine does support 32-bit.
Yeah. And I believe the 64-bit systems support 32-bit emulation, if I'm correct.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, in other words, you can run 32-bit programs on a 64-bit system. And, like, 64-bit computers are, like, very cheap. Like, I mean, chances are if you buy one, it's 64-bit today. I mean, unless it's, like, 10, 20 years old.
Wow. Now, I will say one thing. I mean, with all these Linux phones that are coming, all I gotta say is Apple needs to be on their toes because they're going to get some major competition.
Yeah. Yeah, and Android too.
I mean, Android Q is the newest Android operating system. That's going to give iPhone a big run for their money because that'll give Android a lot more functionality and a few new things that it wasn't even able to do before.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still on Android 6 on this thing, but it works for me. Like,
I will say the Librem 5, even though it's going to be around $699 for that amount of money, it is definitely worth it. Because would you rather get that more than an iPhone?
oh yeah.
I mean,
Oh yeah.
you have 3 desktop environments to choose from. You have KDE, GNOME, and Ubuntu Touch. I would say Ubuntu Touch. This is speaking of Ubuntu Touch. This will be the second time that Ubuntu Touch has tried to get off the ground. If it succeeds this time, it's going to be one of the best mobile operating systems. Period.
I mean, what I will say is this: is that the reason that the Microsoft phone didn't really go anywhere was because they were so late in the game.
Yeah, I mean,
Like,
Android was extremely dominant. I mean, Android has come very far.
yeah, like Apple was the innovators, really, when it comes to the smartphone. Like the iPhone was the first phone on the scene with those kind of capabilities.
And the thing is, you still have other phone companies out there. I mean, Nokia is back for the first time in over 20 years. They're making new phones, which I'm really excited that they're back. I mean, it's been a long time since they've been in a game, and now that they're back in it, we're just going to have to wait and see what they do. I mean, they were famous for their destructible brick phones. I mean, well, indestructible.
Yeah.
I mean, those things, even though they cost a pretty penny, they were worth it because you got a nice phone and it was built rock solid. I mean, there is nothing you can do to that phone to make it stop working.
Yeah, like, dude, like if you go online, like some like back in the day, like the old, like a lot of old memes, all they did was make fun of how sturdy the Nokias were.
I mean, there was a reason why that phone was so successful. It's because of the build quality. The people knew what they were doing.
Yeah. I mean, there's this one meme. It was kind of messed up, but it was like Osama bin Laden sitting there with his Nokia, and he got all frustrated with it, so he threw it, and it hit the twin towers, and he was like, "Oh crap!"
Yeah, that's very messed up.
Yeah, it was, but like it's a testament to like how like the Nokias were known for being sturdy, strong.
And the thing is, Blackberries are still around too. I mean, Blackberries have gone through a monumental transformation. I mean, yes, there's still of them that still use the traditional quirky keyboard setup, but they're starting to use the touchscreen technology now. And the BlackBerry, I still say, if the business person needed a phone, the BlackBerry was usually the number one choice.
Yeah, I mean, the touchscreen is definitely. Um, I have mixed feelings about the touchscreen because, like, I get it. You can make the interface whatever you want it to be for whatever app you need. You're not like Steve Jobs said it. Like you're with a touchscreen, you're not limited to a certain set of keys. And if you have a certain set of keys, then they're going to be different for each phone. And you only going to be able to develop your app for certain phones. And with a touchscreen, you can make it look however you want it to be universal across the board. So I get it. The touchscreen is the way of the future.
Oh my gosh, dude. They actually made their phones a lot better. Holy cow. You might want to see this, dude. Do you mind if I share my screen for just a minute?
Yeah, sure.
Oh my lord, these things look so well. If I could find the share screen button. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Screen share. Right here. Take a look at the beauty of these things.
Oh, wow.
I mean, they kept the keyboard, but they positioned it in such a way that it will not interfere with the phone itself. That is brilliant.
That's genius.
I mean, you got Android, I think this is either 8 or 9. This looks like 8. I think this is Android 8. But I mean, you got your keyboard right here, which the keyboard looks. I could tell from here, dude, that this is a rock solid keyboard. That thing looks like it's made out of metal. You also got it's got a microphone button here to where you can mute the mic. Okay, that's gonna be cool. That is gonna be awesome. I can see that getting a lot of use. You got the lettering, you got your old space. This is almost the way the keyboard looks, dude. It is very almost identical to a full PC keyboard. I'm liking what they did with this keyboard.
Yeah, I'm liking that too because, like, for me, it's like the touchscreen is great, but I have fat fingers.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and then basically they made several phones. You got the BlackBerry Key 2 and the Key 2 1. The Key 2 1 looks really fancy. It's really nice. It says right here, ready for business. It's basically for the business environment. You got accessories, and it's powered by Android. I really do like the way they designed their phones. I mean, if there was one phone company that I liked phone design the most, it'd be BlackBerry. Because when it comes to the business person, you want a phone that will function in your work with your workflow and your work environment. And BlackBerry was always the one to do that.
Let's see. I'm trying to find prices right now. Look at BlackBerry Key 1.
Yeah, there's the Key 1, the Key 2, and the Key 2 LLE.
Whoa! Oh, check it out on Amazon. BlackBerry Key 1 GSM unlocked. Android smartphone. AT&T and T-Mobile. $245.
That is actually not that bad. That is actually really good. That's not a bad price.
Not at all.
Oh,
It looks like it's actually coming with Android 7.
okay, now let's check on. Let's see. See what Nokia's up to. Oh, okay. So we got phones. Okay. Nah. Oh my. Okay. I'm questioning myself now. I am questioning myself. This has got the new Android 1 operating system, but I don't know if you can see this, Benjamin, but do you see that right there?
The
That
fingerprint.
is a. All I have to say is Nokia, have you lost your ever-loving minds? Why in the world would you put a fingerprint biometric sensor into your phone? Oh, that's scary. That is scary. Because that whenever a company puts technology like that into a phone, that's usually a sign that they're going into the route of data collection.
Oh no, I'm looking at this here, the Nokia 7.1.
Mm-hmm.
They put a notch in it.
Oh, good heavens, no. No.
No, Nokia, no.
Well, here's the saving grace, though. The other two do not have notches, so I'm happy with that.
No, but it
But
looks
the
like
7.1, though, why would you put a freaking notch in that? I
I,
mean,
I
oh
mean,
my.
I hope that's not a sign of things to come.
I hope not. I really hope not. I mean, Nokia, you were one of the best phone companies ever. Please don't go down the path of Google and Microsoft. Just please don't do it. Okay, so there's a couple of them here. There's the Nokia 3.1 Plus, the 6.1, the 7.1, the 9 PureView, and the 2V. But then you got other phones all right here. Hey, dude, look right here. They
Wow.
still have it. The original and the best. The Destructa phone. $59.99. Okay, that's a good price. And you can make it any color you want. You can have yellow, red, black, or blue. I mean, the black one I say would be good. Let's take a look at this. I mean, what is it running? Oh, that's not a bad operating system. What is it? What type of operating system is that? It's some sort of retro UI feel. It's pretty much like a nod to the earlier Nokia phones. But there's just one tiny problem. Do you see the F symbol right there?
That stands for Fedora, right? I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Okay, for the most part.
Joe
Face-
Panico's in the house.
Yeah, Facebook and Twitter are in the phone, but here's the thing: if I ever get this thing, those two are coming off. Because I only use my phones as a phone. I don't use my phone for social networking.
Joe, I'm not on Discord. I never used it before actually. I'm on Hangouts right now. If you would like to join.
Discord is actually not that bad. I mean, it works.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll get around to it eventually. I just haven't had the time to really check it out.
So basically, yeah, I mean, yeah, the retro Nokia phone is still being sold. I mean, anybody wants to get it, feel free. Okay, let's take a look at other phones. Okay,
I don't know if it's worth $60, but
well, let's take a look at the competitor that we're all waiting for. Let's see. Any information regarding the Librem 5? Oh, Is that what it looks like? Holy crap! Oh my lord.
That looks sick.
I think I've died and gone to heaven 200 times. I mean, look at all of the hardware switches. Oh my god.
Well, my next question is the most important one of all.
Well, I'm not
Does
sure.
it have a headphone jack?
That's a good question. That is a really good question. Let's see. Oh, that's right. I forgot about this feature. You can plug it into this special thing and you can use it as a computer. Okay,
Yeah.
that is really cool.
That's a big selling point for me. I might actually shell out the cash for the Librem.
Yeah. Okay. There's a. I don't know what this messenger thing is, which I've never seen it before. I know this is Puro S. Oh, dude. You said headphone jack, right? Look.
There we go.
There's the selling point.
Score one for Librem.
You got 3 desktop environments. You have a headphone jack. And I don't know if you can see at the beginning of this, there's no notch.
Oh, that's a big selling point for me too.
And it's not Android. This is fully Linux based. $649. I mean, it's expensive, but this thing. Okay, what we got here for the apps? We got books, photos, video, weather, to-do list, podcast. Oh yeah, if I'm right, the way this looks. This has to be GNOME. This has to be GNOME.
I think so too, but you know what?
It looks like GNOME.
But you know what? I'll tell you this is that GNOME, I think, will work on
it's
on
gonna
a
look,
device like that. Like
it's gonna look beautiful on this thing.
Like I think GNOME is pretty optimized for like a touchscreen tablet.
And here's what it says here: bridge the gap with native and HTML5 apps. Okay, that's a huge one. I mean, look at the support it's got. YouTube. I don't know what that is. Instagram, Twitter, the Associated Press. You got all your major sports providers. Wells Fargo. All of these things. I mean, they got a really good. That's not bad.
Well, at Best Buy, Nokia 9 PureView, 128 gigabyte memory cell unlocked. Midnight Blue, $549.99. So $550 for the Nokia 9.
Yeah, I think I figured out what this maps thing is. This has to be. I think that's no maps, no weather, no GNOME calculator. This has to be either Puro. This. I'm really thinking that this has to be GNOME.
Yeah, because GNOME does have no maps.
Yeah, it does, and that has to be the GNOME store. Unless this is Puro S itself. This is most likely Puro S.
Well, it looks like it's using the GNOME desktop environment.
That's what I'm thinking. This has to be Puro S with the GNOME desktop environment. But other than that, I mean, this thing, I don't know when this thing is releasing, but $649. I mean, if you're looking for a really good phone, I mean, if you want an alternative to the iPhone, this is your best shot right here. I mean, this thing is going to go places.
Well, for what, like $400 less? No, man, I'd rather pay $1,000 for the notch.
Let's see. I mean, I know there's other phones out there, but I want to see if I can look up a few things. Okay, let's see. Okay, let's see. How to install Android Q beta on the Google Pixel. Oh, that's right. I forgot to mention there. Google's original Pixel and Pixel XL will be updated to Android Q. Okay, well, we'll see how those two... Sony's PlayStation Classic is $36.99, and Philips's Hue light bulbs are on sale. So light bulbs and PlayStations. Good job.
What could go wrong? That sounds like a perfect mix for me.
Yeah.
That's not random at all.
No. HP is recalling even more laptop batteries for fire and burn hazards. Oh no. Well, that doesn't surprise me. That does not surprise me at all. No, well, hold on. Let me look it up here. I may have to look on Start Page, which is what I should use. Startpage.com. Okay, there we go. Oh, no. Son of a monkey. I accidentally spelled it wrong. We're just going to have to... There we go. That's better. Okay. Let's see. Besides the Librem 5, Linux phones. Search. 7 open source mobile OS alternative. No. Free Linux smartphone operating systems you can install. No. I want to know exactly what... Oh, here we go. This is the one I want to look at. Pine 64 is developing a Linux smartphone. Pine 64 sells... Okay, so this thing... Holy cow! This Linux smartphone is going to have KDE Plasma. Okay, that's that. Okay, you might have sold me. How much is the thing going to cost? It does not even say. Okay. Well, I guess number one. There's Pure OS. You know, I will look into this. 7 mobile source Linux mobile OS alternatives to Android. Okay, what's all 7 of these? This will be good. Okay, what's number 1? Kai OS. Okay, Kai is going to be the world's third largest mobile operating system. Chances are you haven't heard of it. Not your fault, really. Kai OS was only released in 2017, and yet it is powering a huge number of mobile phones in just under 2 years. Okay. Tizen. Oh! Tizen is an open source Linux-based mobile operating system which is often dubbed as official Linux mobile OS for the reason that the project is supported by the Linux Foundation apart from Linux Foundation. Okay. Tizen project is supported by tech giants Samsung and Intel, and initially slotted for late 2013 release. Okay, so this thing is most likely dead. Plasma Mobile. Okay, I like that little clock there. Plasma, that looks nice. Post Market OS. Okay, that's interesting. Librem. Okay, that's for the Librem 5. Lineage OS. Okay, Lineage is okay. Okay, this one's another one that's under development. Sailfish OS. It's not open source, but it's another one of the OS. Firefox OS discontinued. Ubuntu Touch maintained by community.
Well, to be honest, I have nothing against KDE as a desktop environment. I really like it. I mean, I want to like it. But like my experience with it has been very buggy, like very quirky sometimes. And I just think that for a new user, I think maybe a GNOME based would be less confusing, less buggy.
Yeah, I can see that.
Like, cause like with KDE, like you could really get lost in the settings, and I think it's easier to bork up your system and make it like at least to the new user irreparable. But yeah, as far as like KDE goes, I've had bugs with Kmail, like bogging down my system to the point where I had to force reboot it. Um,
Oh,
I had an issue with the online accounts feature where I tried to log into a like Google Drive or whatever, and it gave me this thing called error
okay.
something 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 error two. And when I went to KDE's forums, it was listed as an issue back in 2012. Still no solution. And
My
so
lord.
I said, you know what? Uh, I mean, I'm sorry, KDE. Like as a core, it's come a long way. Like it's not as buggy as it was like back when I first tried it with Kubuntu 10.04. Like I don't know, like, it was like KDE 3 or KDE like the beginnings of KDE 4. But yeah, back then it was terrible. But now it's come a long way. But I think they still have a lot of work to do too. Whereas with GNOME, like I get it, like the user interface isn't my favorite. Like the extensions tend to break. But from my experience with GNOME, the features that are built into it tend to just work
They
without
do.
without
They,
bugs. Like the online accounts just works. Evolution just
yeah.
works. And so
Well, I mean, with a GNOME 3.32 out, I mean, the supposed speed increase GNOME is supposed to get, if this speed increase is true, then I could see GNOME getting a lot better.
hmm, well, I'm gonna have to log into GNOME one of these days because it's been a while since I have other desktop environments installed on my system, but I barely ever go into them anymore
Yeah.
because I got so used to i3.
Uh huh.
But like, yeah, I do have other desktop environments on here just to keep up with what they're doing, and because I like some of the tools that they bring in, I can make my i3 experience a lot easier with some of them. But no, like I really gotta get back on top of that.
Mm-hmm. I will say though, Ubuntu Touch is in really good hands with the UParts team. It's a good thing they snatched it up from Canonical.
Yeah, I mean, like I don't know how far they can take it, but uh, I mean,
We're just gonna have to see what happens.
I'm on distro watch right now, looking to see if there's any interesting releases. Um,
Yeah, I need to get on there too to see what's there.
well, hey man, Jaro still number one for whatever that's worth.
I don't follow that little chart anymore. I just follow what I think is good.
Yeah, I mean, in all honesty, I think that if I had to guess which one is the most popular, I would have to say Ubuntu probably.
Yeah,
But I think Mint might be up there too.
Mint is really good. It is one of the most stable operating systems on the market. I mean, there's a reason why Linux Mint has lasted this long.
Yeah, like I
I,
think for a while Linux Mint was on top.
mhm.
And
But did you know that it used to have a few other desktop environments besides the ones that we know? I don't think you ever knew this. Um, it used to have a Fluxbox edition.
Linux Mint did.
Yeah, it used to have a
Wow.
Fluxbox, and it also used to have a version of KDE.
Yes, I remember the KDE version.
Hmm.
I didn't
Which,
really use it because like back then, like
yeah,
I was scared of KDE, honestly.
yeah. The last KDE I tried was a KDE on Sparky Linux.
Paul, what are my thoughts on OpenBox? Uh,
OpenBox. I mean, I think DistroTube says it himself. It's lightweight, blazing fast, highly customizable.
I I follow DistroTube's how to on how to get it working on Arch. And I watched this one on Debian, but like I followed the one on Arch since that's what I'm running. Um, I found it to be easy to comprehend. I found it easy to get it working. The config file, I thought the way that he explained it, how to get things to launch at the get go,
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was very easy to follow.
I would
Um,
say that for a new user that wants to go right into a window manager, I say OpenBox is very new user friendly.
yeah,
I mean, it's not hard to set it up at all. You just got to go through the config, just tweak a few things, and you're good to go. I mean, you can make OpenBox look like a Mac style layout if you're transitioning over from Mac, or you can get a few things to make OpenBox look like Windows.
yeah, but that's the thing with OpenBox. You could literally like it's like a blank slate. You can
Hmm.
make it whatever you want it to be.
Exactly. And it's also an occasional stepping stone for users to go into the intermediate territory slash advanced territory where iFree, DWM, and the suckless utilities are.
Mm. Yeah, like I like i3 just because like I wanted to get into the tiling window manager scene.
Mhm.
That's what pushed me to i3.
Yeah, one thing I like about iFree from the test run I did with iFree, you can have a dock with it, but it's very tricky to keep that dock working.
Yeah, I found when I installed a dock on my i3 system, it wanted to tile the dock, and
Exactly.
and it took up a ton of space I didn't really need.
Now you are able to get a system tray for advanced window managers like that. It's the one that DistroTube reviewed just recently. It's called Trayer. Once Trayer
Mhm.
is activated for those advanced window managers, you have a nice looking system tray like you would on a Windows machine.
Matter of fact, on i3, you can install the XFCE panel.
Really?
Yeah, I've seen people do it.
Huh. So by combining that with the XSC panel, wouldn't that give iFree an almost complete start button, I think?
Yeah, because like it would be fully compatible with the like matter of fact, here I'm gonna give this a shot. If this goes blank, I'll restart the live stream. But
Oh, okay.
yeah, I'm gonna screen share for a second. I'm gonna see if this works. This is
You're good.
I'm gonna start XFCE for panel.
Was that Rofi?
That was Rofi,
Hmm.
and hopefully this works. There you go. See it started up in the bottom there.
Oh, there it is.
I got my XFCE panel, i3, and i3, and it's
That
working.
is freaking amazing.
I mean, it's not
So,
minim. I don't know why it's not minimizing anything or maximizing anything. Probably because it's i3, but
well, iFree, well, aren't there like other things you can add to iFree to where you can have a minimize, close, and enlarge button?
yeah. When I first installed it, it came with borders, with with the X minimize and all that. I chose to get rid of those because I think it looks better without them.
Okay.
It's just an aesthetic thing for me, really.
I will say though that with the borders and the XFCE panel, I mean that would make that for a new user that's coming to iFree, that would make it really tolerable for a new user.
Over here, I'm gonna kill the panel because it's kind of looking kind of weird here.
And I've used iFree on a few occasions. It's not a bad window manager. I say compared to DWM, I say iFree is a bit has a easier learning curve.
Really, DWM.
Mhm.
I haven't tried that one yet. Like, if I'm not mistaken, I do think though that a lot of like the Manjaro community editions.
Mhm.
Let me see if I'm right about this. Like, I remember trying out like the Awesome Window Manager
Uh
community edition, and it looks like a lot of them come with XFCE panel pre-installed.
oh.
to make it more.
So basically, the window managers themselves, you can install the XFC panel on pretty much any one of them.
Yeah, yeah, that was one of the first things that people said was that, hey, you could install the XFC panel to i3, and the reason I don't really use it that much is because it kind of defeats the purpose, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Of like, I like the i3 bar, I like the minimal like nature of it, and
And the thing about i3, the major selling point of i3 was it was originally meant to be with computers that had more than one monitor.
yeah, but it does work perfectly for me when I have just like one monitor if I'm on the go with my laptop. Like, I have no issue with it then.
Yeah.
Because like I can just tile everything that I need on the one screen, move something to another workspace if I need to. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I've really gotten used to like the workflow.
Could you hold on just a minute, please?
Sure. Uh, yeah, I can see how i3 could be kind of confusing, Paul. Yeah, it was confusing for me at first, but like, I'm like I said before, I'm not really a developer. I'm not a coder or anything like that. So like, I don't really develop my own scripts or anything for it. I borrowed a bunch of Luke Smith's, and they work pretty much fine for me out of the box. Some of them I had to tweak a tiny bit to get them to work. Um, with my setup, but like for the most part, they work. Like, I got his weather thing, the WTTR, and it opens up a full weather forecast in the console window for me. And I made a few scripts of my own for the i3 blocks. Um, Nothing major. I just used the print function to print out certain outputs. Um, just literally like the basic of the basic. Yeah, Paul was saying like i3 can be kind of confusing, and I do kind of agree with that. Like, it was confusing to me at first. Hello, Samantha, and Abrar. Thanks for joining in the chat.
Okay, tiling window manager. Let's see. Okay, there's a few of them. There's a DWM right there. Let me look up window managers Linux. See which one. You can see. 20 best 20 Linux window managers. Oh, this ought to be good. Oh, dude, this is too funny. Number 1 is i3.
I thought the i3 would be number 3. So Samantha, do you use Linux, or Abrar? Do you guys use Linux at all?
Awesome window managers number 2. Xmonad is number 3. OpenBox is number 4.
I would think the open box would have taken number 1.
DWM is number 5. Gala is number 6. This one, I've never heard of this one. What's this one? This window manager works with as a client-side decoration of GTK. This is a uniformly designed manager and is slick Jala. Usually maintains a high consistent tool as it follows the design guidelines of the Elementary OS. Oh, so this is the window manager for Elementary OS. Okay.
Hmm.
Kwin. Very good, very configurable window manager. Fluxbox. Um, Muska. Spectra WM. Herbs Lifts WM. Enlightenment. JWM. Window Maker. Ice WM. Pantheon. XFWM. Rat Poison.
Oh, that one sounds delicious.
Uh, Compaz. Wayland. That's it.
Yeah. Wayland belongs at the bottom for now, anyway.
Yeah, Wayland. Nobody even uses Wayland anymore.
Well, I think it's still in its development phases. Like it's supposed to be the way of the future, but like it was a
Yeah,
nightmare both times I tried it. So
yeah,
never.
exactly.
So I think I'll wait until it's developed further.
Yeah. There are. I mean, by looking at the Arch Wiki, there are a few other window managers that were not on the list. I mean, there is 2BWM, AEWM, Afterstep, Blackbox, CWM, Egg WM, Evil WM, FLWM, FVWM.
Yeah,
Uh,
no. The reason I won't use some of those window managers, like DWM, is because it's you have to install that particular one from the AUR, and I don't want to be particularly
yeah,
dependent on the AUR for my desktop environment.
yeah.
If that
Here,
makes any
here,
sense.
here it is. Gala is a beautiful window manager from Elementary OS, powered of Pantheon. Also, as a compositing manager based on Leave Mutter. There's also Goom WWM, GBWM, Carmen, LWM, Marco, Metacity, which is the window manager for GNOME 2. Muffin, Mutter,
Muffin is the window manager for Cinnamon, by the way.
Oh, that's Cinnamon's window manager?
Yeah, it's a
Oh.
cinnamon muffin.
Oh, okay, I get it, I get it. PAWM, Peak WM, Soulfish, Tiny WM, TWM, UWM, Wind, Window Lab, there's Window Maker, WM2, XFWM. And then for tiling, I'm not going to mention the most famous ones, just the ones that are people don't even use. EXWM, HOWM, Ion Free, Notian, Stump WM, Subtight, Sway, Way Cooler. Yep, there's a window manager called Way Cooler.
That sounds very cold.
WMFS2. There's also Cat WM. I'm not going to try to pronounce this word for the life of me. Franken WM. That must be for Halloween.
Well, it looks like Sway. Sway is a drop-in replacement for the i3 window manager, but for Wayland instead of X11.
Okay. Qtile. That's one of the window managers that DistroTube mentions from time to time. That's a really good one.
I think he's been using that one for a while now, hasn't he?
No, he's gone back to Xmonad.
Oh.
Which last one on the list is Xmonad.
See, my whole thing about a lot of these tiling window managers is you have to know a certain programming language to configure the conf file. And, like
Yeah.
I'm not a programmer, so um, like i3, I found this config file to be very legible, very like self-explanatory. So like even like a total noob to the whole coding thing can understand it and get it to work really, like basically the way I want it to work. So
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for someone like me, like someone who doesn't know like a code who wants to have a tiling window manager, I think i3 is like perfect.
When it comes to distro releases, not much going on, but in the package releases, the Linux kernel has been updated to 5.0.2.
Uh oh.
Audacity is up to 2.3.1. Nautilus is updated to 3.32. So now everything in GNOME 2 is up to 3.32. Apt has been updated to 1.8.0. That's about it. I mean, there's not much. I mean, right now, well, here's a little bit of latest headlines.
Oh, look at
Uh,
that. Look at that. The Arch, if you go to archlinux.org and look up Linux, right? That's the name of the Linux kernel in the Arch repos. 5.0.1 has already been flagged out of date.
what?
That's how that's how bleeding edge the Arch team is.
So Arch themselves have already flagged the kernel. Where,
As being
where
out of date. This isn't the latest version.
oh my lord.
I'm just like,
Ooh, what's this? Haiku interface improvements. Oh, Haiku's been improved? Ooh, I may try that at some point. Haiku, it's basically not Linux. It's pretty much meant to be another operating system entirely.
hmm.
But not long ago, a few things from Linux have been imported to it. It recently got LibreOffice.
Hmm.
Let's see. Debian awaits project leader nominations. Ubuntu Studio gains upload rights. Okay, so what's this?
Oh
Uh,
yeah, yeah, I heard about that. That was kind of a big deal
uh,
with Ubuntu Studio.
Yeah, I mean they've been up in the air for a little while. It says here, last week we discussed Ubuntu Studio developers working at gaining upload rights to the Ubuntu repositories, a requirement for official community flavors of the Ubuntu family. The Ubuntu Studio team reported two of their team members now have access, fulfilling the requirements and allowing development of Ubuntu Studio 19.4 to continue. During a meeting at the Ubuntu Developer Membership Board on March 11th, 2019, two Ubuntu Studio developers, Council Chair Eric, I cannot pronounce their names for right from me, successfully applied for and received upload rights to Ubuntu Studio's core packages fulfilling the requirements, which means Ubuntu Studio is staying for a little while longer, and it will be upgraded to 19.4.
Hmm.
Which I think out of all the distros, Ubuntu Studio is just not that good. It's very blackluster.
Yeah,
I mean,
like
it is from what I remember, it has XFCE.
from what I can tell, it seems to be just be like Ubuntu with different
Oh,
prepackaged applications to it.
oh, here we go. Here we go. This is what I wanted to look up. Over the past year, there's been a lot of talk about a privacy-focused phone called the Librem 5, which is expected to run a GNU/Linux distribution that will use a custom version of GNOME and optionally the KDE mobile user interface. While it is an appealing system, the niche nature of the device makes it relatively expensive. The device pre-orders for 400 and not 400. $649. People wanting to test out GNU/Linux-based phone solutions at a lower price may want to examine the Pine Phone. The Pine Phone is expected to run UParts and possibly with other operating system options. And this is the best part, dude. And should retail, wait for it, $149. Both devices are expected to be available sometime in 2019. So the Pine Phone is going to be a much more affordable way to use Linux on mobile devices.
Yeah, there you go.
Let's see, what other news is there? CentOS is turning 15 years old. Huh.
CentOS, I think, brings a lot to the table.
Oh, it does. It's part of the Red Hat family.
Yes, it's supposed to be the free version of Red Hat itself.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Every time I tried to run CentOS, it just wouldn't work.
I tried to run it just to get to know like Red Hat, because like I guess that's what's in the server world. So like that's what I should at least be familiar with. I gave it a shot. I just installed a minimal, like no desktop environment, just a command line, because that's how they have it. So that's what I decided to try to get used to. But no, like I would say too is if you had to take a guess as to what Opensuse or SUSE Linux is based off of, what would be your first guess?
I would say Opensuse is based off of Red Hat.
That was my first guess too. Turns out that Opensuse is based on Slackware.
What?
I've been wondering this for years. Why Opensuse uses RPM packages, yet it's not in the Red Hat family. And then I saw that, the chart, the flow chart with like all the distros and like how they came. It's like I saw Opensuse down branching off of Slackware. And I was surprised to see that.
I never knew that Opensuse was based off of Slack. That is really interesting. I never knew that.
Me neither. I always assumed it was based off of Red Hat or some Red Hat
Yeah, that's
distribution.
And because here's the thing, normally with just basic Slackware, you don't have a package manager. Because you got to compile everything yourself, and that takes hours on end.
Well, because I guess you don't have like. I used to make the mistake of judging what the distribution was based off its package manager. Like if you used apt, I would assume okay, it's Debian based, or if it uses RPM, it's got to be Red Hat based. But
oh dear. Well, this is not good for Farron OS. Farron OS is migrating their repositories. Says right here, the Farron OS project is moving its package repositories from SourceForge to GitHub. Oh no. Not good when Microsoft owns GitHub.
No, well, now Microsoft owns Farron OS.
Oh dear. Yeah, it says from SourceForge to GitHub following a series of issues with the original host. So basically, they were having some internal problems. So they managed to fix that around, and now they're migrating the repositories to a different area. So, If
I guess
they, I guess that's okay. Yeah.
I guess
Um.
they're doing what they have to do.
Let's see. Uh, Fedora packaging deepened desktop. What? Mm,
Mm.
Sammer's son and Bonnie are working to bring the deepened desktop environment to Fedora. The duo is working to get deepened packages included in Fedora repositories in time for the launch of Fedora 30, scheduled for the end of April 2019.
Well, you know what I'm scared of? Like, Deepin can be installed on Arch, right?
Well, the thing is, but here's the thing: the desktop environment itself, as far as I know, does not have the data collection. What did have the data collection was the store, but they pretty much fixed the data collection problem with the store, so there wasn't really nothing to worry about with the environment itself.
Well, what scares me is kind of the EULA.
Well, since it's the desktop environment itself, you don't have to worry about the EULA.
Hmm. I
Which
might give it a second look then.
I'm thinking of giving Deepin another look as well, because if it's included in Fedora, this is going to be pretty interesting, because Fedora has never had Deepin until now.
Well, I'm looking more so at the desktop environment itself. Like, I don't think I'll ever.
Oh, wait, what is this? PF Sense upgrading to BSD 12.
Hmm.
Interesting. Void Linux publishes update on domain status. Oh yeah, they had that little domain problem. The Void project is proactively publishing a statement on their website, letting people know that the domain voidlinux.eu is not under the control of the Void team. The official Void website can be found at voidlinux.org. So
Hmm.
basically, they're just going to say that the Void EU site is not even by them. That's all they're saying.
Hmm.
Let's see. Oh, what's this? Trident BSD makes Project Trident BSD makes LXQT available.
Hmm.
Oh, BSD's getting a bit of Linux love here. They're getting interesting. The LXQT desktop environment is finally available for the first time. A lot of new Python utilities to interact with Microsoft Azure Sphere. The Pale Moon web browser is now available once again. It had been having build issues previously. This browser is available at version 27.9.4.3. So Pale Moon has now been brought to BSD. That's interesting.
Hmm.
Okay. The thing about Trident, it's supposed to be another version of the desktop version of TrueOS, because TrueOS moved over to the server department. So they pretty much moved the desktop portion of TrueOS over to Trident.
Hmm.
So that's really nice that they're bringing LXQT over to Trident. That's really good, because that was one of the systems they used for a long, long time.
Hmm. Yeah, that's pretty neat. Cause like I've tried
Um,
BSDs before, and like
let's see. What else is there?
um, see what was it? I tried Ghost BSD, I think it was called.
I've tried very hard to run that thing, but the biggest problem I have with GhostBSD is my Ethernet cable will not work.
Hmm. Well, that's the thing is I hear that the BSDs are particularly unfriendly with proprietary hardware, so that kind of scares me to try to run it on my
Yeah.
ThinkPad with an NVIDIA card in it.
Mm-hmm. Other than that, that's pretty much all the news there is. I mean, there's a lot of good things coming. I mean, Project Trident has a new desktop environment and the Pale Moon browser. That'll hopefully make it a bit better. It's just the thing about BSD though is it's not that stable. I mean, BSDs have
Hmm.
usually never been stable. I mean,
Yeah.
if they had better video drivers, then I guess they could be visible. Oh, hello, Steve.
Hi, Steve. Oh man, look at that time. It's already almost midnight.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. I think I need to get going. I need to go get ready for bed and stuff. Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna
All
hop
right.
off myself soon.
All right. See you later.
Sorry, Steve. Maybe next time I'll be on longer. But yeah, it's it's getting late. It's been real, guys. But yeah. Um, I guess I'll see you guys maybe tomorrow night if anybody's streaming, or maybe I'll jump on. Anyway, night, guys. Sorry to end this abruptly, so abruptly, but it is like 11:30 where I am. I got work tomorrow, so just lost track of time. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Night.